Christina and I just wrapped up the second live podcast recording of All Access at our Central West Community Center. The podcast episode was in honor of National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and we had two content creators and disability advocates join us. It was interesting to learn about the ways they use their social media platforms to advocate and educate about their disabilities. Yare Tua is a content creator, model, and disability advocate. She uses her platform to spotlight accessibility, challenge stereotypes, and empower others to embrace their authentic selves. Yare also includes content about her experience navigating Chicago as a person with a disability and underscores just how important accessibility is. Natasha Caudill is a disability advocate and content creator. Natasha was born with the rare vision disorder achromatopsia, and she shares what it's like to see the world as someone living with blindness through videos about beauty, fashion, science, current events, and art. She is passionate about educating about blindness and accessibility and uses her platforms to advocate for blindness as well as other disabilities to many people through her content. We hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, I'm Lauren Huberman.
And I'm Christina McLean. Welcome to All Access.
We are very happy that you're joining us today. We know that you both are on camera a lot, that you both have lots of content out there, lots of videos, but have you been on a live podcast before?
No.
Yeah, we thought
this might be the first one.
Oh, yes. Goodness. Well, congratulations. No, we're really happy to have you both here today and to learn a little bit more about each of you and how you use your platform to advocate for people with disabilities.
Yeah, so to get started, we thought we'd give you both the opportunity to introduce yourself a little bit more, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role on social media.
Amazing. Well, I'm Yare Tua. My pronouns are she, her. And I am a content creator. I love to create content all from accessibility to beauty, fashion, and disability rights, and also the social justice space. I've been doing that since 2020, and I started kind of just like, because I didn't feel like there was enough representation online, and that was my initial motive. But now it's been a journey, and I've even had the opportunity to help push policy and get involved in other areas. So it's been an incredible opportunity to have spaces like this where I can, continue to share my advocacy work and what my mission is.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I'm so lucky because we met each other through this work. I'm Natasha. My pronouns are she, her. And I was born with a really rare form of blindness. And I would love to be able to say that I joined the internet with the goal to change the world. But the truth is that I was bored at home and I wanted to watch funny videos on this brand new app called TikTok. I'd never heard of it before. It was the summer before my senior year of college, 2019. And I was bored, so I thought, why don't I make a video and see what happens? And I thought, well, what's something that's interesting about me? And my whole life, people have always thought, that's a really rare form of blindness. That's kind of cool. So I started making videos about it. So I've never seen color before. I only see in black and white. And I made this video talking about how I buy foundation when I'm doing my makeup to match my skin tone. And it got 1 million views overnight. And then people started following me. And for a while, I started making videos for fun. People were interested in my type of blindness, and there were so many misconceptions out there. But yeah, in the past few years, it's really turned into getting to work with brands and organizations and to really get into that advocacy space. So it's been incredible. Definitely not what I thought I would be doing with my life, but I'm so passionate about it. So I'm so glad that we can be here.
And you mentioned that you know each other. How did you meet?
So we actually have the same management for content creation, and we were both in Coachella at a festival. I went just for fun.
Yeah, and I was there with doing a brand deal, and my manager was like, "Oh, you need to meet Yare. Like, she's one of my clients." And like a couple years later, we were both at the Democratic National Convention together, covering that for social media. And then like just one day, you were like, "By the way, I'm moving to Chicago in a month." And now we literally live in the same neighborhood. Like, we're literally neighbors, so it's amazing.
It's a small world.
It is.
So do you consider yourselves social media influencers?
I think the word influencer has a lot of negative connotation. I think people hear influencer and they think like vapid, uneducated, just wants to take selfies of themselves and post it online. And actually, I'd like to think that we are influencers because we're influencing people to like think about disability and accessibility. So I guess I typically use the term like content creator because I think that's more approachable, especially when I'm speaking to maybe an older generation of people who think that influencer is like a totally fake job. I don't know. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I definitely don't use the word influencer when I'm like saying that that's what I do for a living. I'm a content creator and I'm in the advocacy space, but basically it's just because of that negative connotation that it has. But I do feel that we are out there putting an influence in the world. So like we are influencers, whether or not we like to call ourselves that.
Exactly.
That it's just preference, I think.
That makes sense. No, that's helpful. So, Natasha, you said that you posted a video on TikTok and it got 1 million views, which is bananas. And then did you instantly just have that many people then following you? Or how did you build your platform?
Like overnight, I had like 10,000 followers, which, was insane to me at the time. And it honestly like steadily grew. So I will say, I think when the tides turned, again, I've never seen color before. And I realized that like social media content creation, it's like, how do you engage your audience? How do you get them interested? And with disability, you can talk about disability all day, but most people are never going to know what it's like to have your disability if they themselves are not disabled. And I realized that, I only see in black and white. I can put my videos in black and white. I can use a filter and give people a little bit of a view into like my world. And so I started making videos about going shopping and, everything from buying clothing to like trying to figure out if an avocado is ripe at the grocery store, all in black and white. And I think that was when people were like, oh, this is really interesting. Like we want to watch the black and white version and then we want to see the color version. People kept following. Again, it was never something I thought would ever happen. There were always days where I'm like, are you sure? Like, you're sure you want to follow me? Like, I'm just a girl. But I've been able to build it and it's been just incredible.
Very neat. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I've had been creating content for 2 years, putting myself out there, and I think I got into like 10 million followers before I had one video go viral, and it was like, I think it was like 5 million views. I gained like 90,000 followers just from one video. And I had a few go viral, but basically, yeah, like I had already been doing the job for my little small audience and taking it so seriously. I remember I was just returning from New York Fashion Week. I was working there with JCPenney. They have an adaptive line for people with disabilities. And it was, an incredible experience. And as I'm coming back home, I'm seeing my video just kind of like gain a lot of traction, and it grew like overnight, but I've been doing the work. So I always tell people it's like, social media is like having a store. Like you cannot just like have one item to sell. Like when people come into your store, you want to make them stay. So I have been putting the work for 2 years to make the people stay. So then when they found my page and this video gave me exposure, they were like, oh my God, look at all of this video that she's put out there in this platform she has. So that helped me a lot. So it's been an experience genuinely like to see, and I've grown sometimes slowly, sometimes just like I have a video that hits it off and I grow a lot. So like but it's the consistency of putting yourself out there, even when no one's watching,
How does it work? Like you put yourself out there, you get all these followers, and then a manager kind of contacts you, and then you start getting deals with different companies?
So for me, it came in really early, and I was really blessed because like during those 2 years, I just had 10,000 followers, and a lot of brands or management teams don't pay attention to you until you're really big. But I found this company, or like talent management company at the time, that it was called C Talent, and they only work with disabled talent. So when they reach out, they were like, we are a talent management agency and we want to support you and help you. So I signed with them like in 2020. I think they contacted me through DM, and we had a meeting, and it was great. So then that small talent agency got acquired by a bigger talent company. So now it's like under 16, which is a bigger talent agency company, but I still have the same manager that I started working with back in the day when it was C-Talent, which is great because she knows, about disability and accessibility. And when she's advocating for me, when I'm going to an event, she's making sure to ask for the right accommodations, and she's advocating for me, and it's great. And it's the same manager that Natasha has, so
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I had 1 million followers on TikTok, no representation. Brands were reaching out to me, and I was like, give me $3 and I'll make a video for you. And all these people were like, girl, you need management because you could be making a lot more money for this like work you're putting into it. And yeah, I had a lot of management companies reaching out, and none of them really felt right. And yeah, I went to see talent, and literally our manager reached out, and to have them specifically representing disabled talent was like, that's like, I'm gonna feel comfortable. They know what my limits are. Like, this is exact, like, it was perfect. So yeah. We've been so lucky. Yeah.
And how would you say you use the platform to advocate or raise awareness?
So I feel like I started with the representation just because so a little bit of my backstory. I grew up always wanting to be in the entertainment industry. When you asked me when I was little, you will be like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I was like, I'm going to be a dancer, a singer, an actress. I will say the three. And I always wanted to do that. And I was a dancer. And then when I was 13, I got diagnosed with cancer. I went through treatment, like chemotherapy, radiation. And after the radiation is when I had my spinal cord injury due to the radiation. So that kind of changed the course of my life. And, a very early stage, I was still a teenager. So I had, this pivotal moment where I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And I was like, definitely not the entertainment industry. There wasn't a single role model out there for me to be like, that's what I'm going to do. I was like, no, there's not disabled people in the entertainment industry. So there's no way this is what I'm going to do. So I kind of started doing different things. I graduated. And then eventually, I think around 2019, I had a friend that was like, hey, I'm, building my portfolio for photography. Will you want to do a photo shoot? And I was like, sure. I did a lot of modeling when I was younger, and why not? So I did that. And I kind of posted the photos and got a lot of people messaging me, and I was like, oh, okay. And then additional to that, I had a friend that worked in a talent agency at the time, and she was like, they're casting a lot of people with disabilities for commercials and roles, and it was like the entertainment industry was just kind of becoming more inclusive. So then I started to see these, few opportunities, and I was like, why am I not putting myself out there? What did I want to do when I was younger, and why did I not do it? Is this something that is representative of what I wanted for myself, or was it just because I was, I had that belief that disabled people didn't belong in those spaces. So then I kind of was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put myself out there. And then the pandemic came with that, a lot of free time, and I was like, I'm gonna do it because I feel like I never saw that representation. And if there's someone in the same position that I was in when I was 15, looking for, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the entertainment industry. It can be in any industry. There are so many jobs and roles, even being a mother, and things that I want to share online just so other people feel like they can also do it. And it's so important because it affected the course of my life that I didn't see anyone. So if it can positively affect someone that I'm here doing it and they can do it as well.
Yeah.
And I have a silly example about that, but I love it because I am a person that loves live music, and I love going to music festivals and just having fun. One day I decided to make a video about it. I was like, you know what? I go to these music festivals, and there's accessibility in these music festivals. There's viewing platforms, there's interpreters, and this is how my experience was with my scooter, my mobility scooter. And I started, just documenting that. And I got so many messages from people being like, I never went to a music festival, but after seeing you go, like now I feel inspired, and like I feel like I can also go. Like this gets me the confidence that like I know what to expect, because a lot of the time it's just like that, you don't know what to expect when you go to places like this. And for people with disabilities, we have to plan a lot. Like we have to make sure that we know what we're going to expect, like to encounter. So yeah, basically like from, big roles, like doing cool things, to like even enjoying yourself, going to a concert or like music event. I think it's important to show people that they can also do it. So
well, and I think too, like, I love beauty, I love makeup, and there are a lot of people out there who would probably say like, okay, you went to a concert and you do your makeup, who cares, But I'm like, okay, for most of human history, disabled people have been like literally expected to like stay home and like not even be in society. So like, I think we should show people that like disabled people can do all these things that people don't expect to see us doing. And I think to your point too, I mean, when I started, I think from like the first week I made a video to now, I get messages from parents a lot of the time who tell me like, hey, my 3-year-old daughter has the same rare type of blindness as you, and there's not a lot of representation, and we're literally like learning about our daughter from your videos and how we can best support her. And it's like, that makes it all worth it, because there was nothing like that when my mom, when I was little and my mom was trying to figure out, what's going on with her eyes. And so to be that resource for people, but also to be an educational resource for people who've never really interacted with disability before. I have so many friends who tell me like, oh my gosh, I saw something and it made me think of you because it was inaccessible. And I'm like, that's it. Like these like ideas are going to change the world. And so it's not always as tangible as we might want it to be, but if we have people thinking about inaccessibility and how to make things accessible, like that's like a great first step.
Yeah, I have an example about that. Basically this week I was going out with like a group of friends. Some of them have not been out with me like in opportunities before. So I asked in a place for the elevator, and the elevator was out of service. And that day there had been different things that had happened that were inaccessible, that I had to kind of pivot and find the accessibility. And one of my friends was like, oh, this totally makes sense why you have a page about this. Like, I would have never thought of that, but of course, that's why you have a page. Like, like people now get to see that side that you wouldn't get to experience unless you're with us. Like, unless you have someone with a disability close to you, then this page and this video I made is gonna get you thinking about it.
Yare, I saw one of your videos and you were using your scooter and you were downtown in the city in Chicago, and I could see that you were like in the loop or something. I could see some of the big buildings kind of behind you. It was a neat shot. And you said something about how you didn't realize how important and how necessary accessibility is until you had it, or until now when you have it in a city like Chicago. Can you just talk a little bit about how that's shifted kind of your daily life, and maybe was that something that you didn't have before coming to Chicago?
Yeah, so I moved to Chicago in March this year, so I'm very new to the city and very proud of the city for the little short amount of time that I've been here. But I used to live in Orlando in Florida, and Orlando, Florida is just a place that you can navigate with a car, and that's the only option. There's not really a lot of like pedestrian areas, or just it's not realistic to take public transportation. Like about everyone has a car. So I always I will travel, right? I'll go to New York and I'll see the energy of the city. I'll go to LA and go downtown. I was like, okay, I like this energy. I like the living spaces where you're sharing with other humans, and like on a daily, I like being able to leave my house and just, a couple blocks, there's a coffee shop. And I didn't have that opportunity living in Florida. I had to drive a fair amount of time to kind of like get places. So as soon as I moved to Chicago, I was like, okay, how is it gonna be? Like, how am I gonna be able to navigate this city? And I was, positively impacted and impressed with like what we have here. And I always think that we can do better, and there's a lot of areas for improvement, but it's changed my life significantly. Like, I didn't realize, like, for me, like, I love taking the CTA, and yes, like, we can improve a lot of things about it, but having that opportunity to commute with people, to come out and see the diversity, to have the opportunity to show up in society is so important. And it's something that I feel like I didn't have in Florida, because it's more like a nice isolating style of living. Like you're home, you take a car, you go somewhere, and then you come back. And I was working from home, so I wasn't seeing a lot of people at the time. Chicago completely changed that, and I love it.
I think like living in a big city, like I feel like our independence,
Yes.
like the fact that I can like walk down the street and meet you for lunch is like, and I grew up in a place where you could only get places by car. I'm blind, I can't drive a car. And yeah, living in Chicago, it's like amazing that I could like get downtown and go places and do things. And yeah, it's like, it's the best.
Yeah. No, that's great. And today we have, well, of course, we have our commissioner here, and Christina is our deputy commissioner, and we have a lot of MOPD staff members and a lot of other organizations who we partner with to help make the city accessible. So we also love hearing this feedback, and we also love continuing to improve. It was really neat to see your post about that, Yare. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like that video, like it's truly my feelings. Like I'm like so happy to be in a place that allows me to interact with society. Like I belong. And I like also made a different video about like writing the CTA and kind of like what my experience was. And I just share how one day I had this like CTA attendant say, "Thank you for writing the CTA," because like that's their phrase that they use. But like, you know, not everyone says that. And sometimes like I am almost like, you know, a little hesitant to feel like I'm a bother to ask for a ramp, so when I feel welcome, when I feel that energy, like, and it was so motivating, like I was almost like, oh, I belong here, you know, like this person is happy to assist me because I'm taking the transportation. So it was great.
That's great. Yes. Absolutely. Well, great. So we wanted to talk to you as well today because it's National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And so, you know, we're just thinking about what types of jobs you both are in, what types of jobs you might be looking for, what some of your goals are. And we're not trying to out you, Natasha. We're not saying you're leaving your job or anything. But Yare, I know that, you know, just starting with you, and then we'll come back to you, Natasha, so you don't feel left out.
No, it's all good.
But Yare, we know that you recently have been working with the Career Center with one of our placement counselors, which is wonderful, and we're super excited about that. So we're just wondering, you know, what kinds of jobs are you looking for, and especially just thinking about, like, not a lot of people are content creators. So it's kind of a job, like probably with the Career Center team, where we're used to certain like types of roles or like categories, but this one is different. So what kinds of things are you looking for?
So I feel like with the opportunity to start a career in social media and see like the potential of having a platform, I've grown into know that like it's so important to have an online presence. It's so important for organizations, for different businesses to have a presence online. So I am looking more to bring that knowledge that I have and partner and work with a company that, you know, needs help putting their content out there. So whether it's like with social media management, whether it is with the content creation side of things. So like I'm ready to use those skills that I have to apply to work with other companies. Like I feel like, especially in the advocacy side and with disabilities, like if I could say what my dream job is, that will be it. Like just kind of like handling social media for a disability organization and helping spread the word. Because like, you know, it is so valuable to be able to have this, like an organization be put in front of the eyes of so many people. Like social media is an infinite platform that can allow you to do that. And I think a lot of the times I find organizations that are doing incredible work and more people should know about it. And I am like, okay, we need to put a little bit more work into that, you know, social media page or that like strategy that we have to grow and connect with people. And I think like we've transitioned so much into a digital world that like we need to also be present. We need to have a presence online. So that's ideally what I'm looking for.
Everyone hire her.
Yeah, we're making a plug for you as well.
This is your pitch.
Yes. And also just thinking about, you know, are there barriers that you've encountered in your job search, and can you just share a little bit about those, if there are any?
Yes, definitely. I feel like some of the barriers that I've encountered is like that with having a disability. Of course, like majority of the work that I'm looking for is either hybrid or remote, just like for accommodation wise. So like there's just so much volume of applications when jobs are for remote positions, because there's people applying from everywhere. In addition to that, like there is with the use of AI, I feel like more people are like putting a lot of volume of applications out there. So that's like crowding the application process a lot. So then companies have to go through a lot of applications. So like I think that's one of the biggest one. Of course, AI is an incredible resource and tool when it's utilized right. But it's also like, you know, now more companies are just doing scans with AI, and they're not really taking the time to read your resume, and like it's only all about keywords. So like it's rough. Navigating that, it's been rough because sometimes you have to like edit your resume for every company, so that way it has the exact keywords and in the exact order of what they're looking for, and that's just like, it's so time consuming. So those are some of the few that I've encountered.
That's hard, that makes sense.
And Natasha, we know it's also World Blindness Awareness Month.
It's my month,
Yay.
y'all.
Me too. Very exciting.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Very exciting. No, it gets overshadowed a bit, I think, by Disability Employment Awareness Month. Both important. And I've seen several of your posts about, like the most recent one, I think, was sponsored by NFB or supported by NFB, National Federation for the Blind, with your painting, when you were painting.
Yes, yeah. It's so exciting. It's actually Foundation Fighting Blindness. Yes,
okay.
No, they all have acronyms.
Yeah.
They're all so confusing. I'm actually working with Foundation Fighting Blindness and the American Optometric Association right now, and it's like amazing because it's like paid advocacy work, and I get to like create content. I'm always like, are you sure you want me? Like, like, are you sure? No, but it's like so wonderful to have these, you know, organizations, you know, believe in what I'm saying, and to help, again, to educate, you know, anyone who's going to come across that content. It's so exciting, and I do have like a day job, and so there are days when it's really busy, balancing that with like content, but it's like I love everything I get to do.
Can you tell us a little bit about your day job?
I have the pleasure of working for my alma mater, Knox College, about 3 hours from Chicago. And I actually get to create content and work in like communications for them. And it's really exciting because I loved college. It was just so much fun. And it was also the first time in my life that I had to advocate for myself as a person with disabilities. So it was such like a formative time in my life. And now I get to like tell my own story, but also tell Knox's story, and hopefully, you know, future generations of, you know, prospective college students are going to see that content and make their home there, the same way that I did. So I feel like I have like 2 of my dream jobs at the age of 27. So I don't know, it might all be downhill from here, but it's so exciting, and I'm always like, I'm so like gobsmacked that people trust me enough to get to tell those stories.
No, that's great. And I know that you mentioned you like makeup, you love makeup, and I think about you now every morning when I do my eyeshadow and my blending it, because it was helpful. It really was. Your guidance there, and it was fun too. It was like fun to like connect with someone in that way.
Well, and I always like I even if I could see color and did have better vision, I think I'd be into makeup, and so I love like the joy that I feel like getting ready in the morning and like picking out a sparkly eyeshadow. Like I want every other blind person to feel that way too, if that's what they want to do. And yeah, I get so many messages from people saying like, oh, like I'm blind, I didn't think I could do makeup, and I've been watching your videos, and I'm like, yes, that's so exciting. Like we all get to enjoy this now, and again, it's like fun beauty content, but it's like I'm infiltrating that space with accessibility, so it's really fun.
Yeah, because I would think, you know, especially with blindness, that's definitely a space where you can, you know, be a role model there for makeup or brands like that, because it's probably something people didn't think too much about. Yeah,
and I do think we're moving in the direction. There are so many beauty brands and fashion brands that are making adaptive clothing and adaptive like packaging, and my big thing is like labeling colors on makeup, so that I mean, you know, I have a really rare form of color blindness, but there are like half the population that has like red-green color blindness. So, you know, if we can make anything more accessible for everyone, that's the goal. So it's great, and it's great to be a part of that.
I was watching a video about people with different like visual impairments or varying levels of visual impairments who wanted to go to a fashion show, and they were very into fashion. And so it was a show that was being put on with as much accessibility as possible for the participants. And so there were visual descriptions as the models were coming down the runway. And then the participants also had different swatches of the fabric that the models were wearing so that they could feel them and be more like a part of the show and have more of an immersive experience. And I thought it was so neat. And I thought about you and how you talk about, okay, well, I'm going to put on this lipstick, but it's titled something chocolate s'mores. Yeah. So you were like, so I don't know what this looks like, but I think it's probably got some brown in it because it's got the name chocolate in it. Yeah. But it's that idea of being able to really participate either in an event, even if it seems like something like more frivolous, for example, like a fashion show, but it's this idea of being able to participate equally and having that access.
I need you to send me that video. I need to watch that now.
I will. Yeah, it was really interesting. Yeah. I had not thought about it from that angle, and I'd never seen anything like that. So it was really neat because
and I hope that things like that translate to less frivolous things like in the classroom. Like growing up, I couldn't see the board, right? And so how do you help a student who can't see the lesson that's being taught on the board? And just like it's all factors of life. And so I'm like, I hope we can hopefully all learn from it. And I think and I hope like the next time someone's planning a fashion show, they can say, hey, what can we do to make this more accessible? And I would love that because I also love fashion. And half the time I'm like, that's cute. What color is it? So I love that.
No, it was really neat. And I think probably like the bigger thing too is like, you're using your platform again for advocacy, for people to be able to participate, for people to have access. So it's not that like a fashion show is like more or less important than other things, but it is kind of this, someone else might say, well, why is that such a big deal? But it's the same thing with like you devoting that time and that thoughtfulness to intentionality into like makeup or other kinds of things.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Okay, well, I think we want to turn it over to our audience members and see if they have questions for either one of you. Natasha said she feels like she's on trial in this setup, but she's not.
I'm here to defend my honor.
I mean, look at these friendly faces. We'd love to hear if anyone has any questions. Okay. I mean, listen, there's no pressure, but we want you to ask questions.
There's pressure, yeah.
I had submitted a question, so I wasn't sure what we were up to exactly.
Okay.
I first was just curious, what does it mean to you to be representing Chicago as disability content creators?
Very similar to Yare. When I moved here, this was like the first truly accessible city I ever lived in. It was the first place I could truly be independent and like go to the grocery store by myself. And that was amazing. And honestly, like I've lived in other cities. I've never been this involved in like disability advocacy work in other cities, and I think that's amazing. But there are obviously a ton of disabled people living in Chicago, but there are also millions of people who visit Chicago every year. And when I travel to another city, I'm always looking like, okay, what's going to be accessible? What experiences can I have? And so if even just one person sees our videos and says like, okay, I can get around, I can take the CTA, that's amazing. I mean, I love that. I love living in Illinois. I grew up in the South, so maybe you can deduce that I do love living in the Midwest a little bit more than the South right now. And just being able to represent all the like really wonderful things happening in Chicago, but also like the growth. No city is perfect, but it's amazing to see all the work that Chicago is doing.
It's really exciting for me to represent Chicago just because like I feel like there's so much beauty and diversity and we need it, and I think this city is such a great representation of that. And I am from Venezuela, and I lived in Venezuela for the first 18 years of my life, and then I moved to Chicago, to Florida for another 10, and now I'm here in Chicago, and this city has so much beauty because of its people, and that has been incredibly inspiring to me, and I feel like that's something that I want to show the rest of the world, because like I feel so welcome and I feel so cared for, and I want other people to see, and especially now when there's, Chicago is in so many people's mouth and they're saying these things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I love this city and I never felt more safe. So I think it's really important to me to put that out there for people to know. I've been to other cities and I've explored their transportation systems, and I've evaluate moving other places. Like, this is not the first place I had in mind, and Chicago is what I chose because I think it's a great city.
Are there any other questions from the audience? Yeah.
You both talked about showing your disability experience, and I was wondering if you could talk about like disability identity and how that developed for each of you.
I feel like growing up, like, it was definitely a process. Like, I never felt like that confident with the disability identity, especially because there was some internalized ableism that I just had because of society, the way I was raised. I didn't really have a lot of like role models or people with disabilities around me, and growing up in Latin America, it's less and less than what it is here, I will say. So it took time for me to kind of like find my identity. I feel like at first I was just like on survival mode, and I was like, I'm gonna make my life work, because like, my first experience was cancer. That was a life-changing experience. And after that experience, I was like, I'm gonna live my life to the max, no matter what. So then the disability came a few months after, and that was okay. Like, I was completely something unexpected. And this is something that I had to live with. So at the time, I didn't really know what that meant, but I was like, I'm gonna live my life the best way I can. So if that means that I'm showing up places where I'm gonna be perceived, like, I just completely kind of like blocked it. Like, I was like, I don't care what people think about me, I was just like, I'm gonna live my life. And eventually I had to like sit down and be like, okay, like, am I comfortable with calling myself disabled? Am I, like, I think it has, it depends a lot of your environment, but like growing up, religion was also like, a big part of my life. So I feel like it was like for a lot of years just kind of like trying to find the cure. And I feel like for me, it was like that change when I realized that this is the way I am and that I am okay being the way I am. I didn't need cure. I didn't need anything in my life. I was already lucky enough to be alive, and I just needed accessibility more than a cure. So like, I think that really changed for me when I realized that I was like, oh, I don't need to be cured.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I was born with my blindness, and it's actually hereditary, but I was also adopted. So I have no family history, and it wasn't until I was in middle school that we even got an actual diagnosis, because it's so rare. And I wear sunglasses because I have day blindness, and I have to wear them inside, and that means that whenever I walk into a room, people are looking at me. And to be honest, as like a kid, I just wanted to be perceived like everybody else. I didn't want people to stare at me. I just wanted to look like, in my mind, what I thought was normal. And it wasn't until high school that I was a little bit more comfortable with myself. Again, in college, I really started advocating for myself. But my senior year of high school, I was voted best eyes in the yearbook. And it wasn't malicious. It was like everyone, literally like the entire school was like, we're gonna give Natasha best eyes, because she's like, that's funny, but also like, it's awesome because she does have the best eyes. And I think it was that moment when I realized, I was like, you know what, like, this is kind of like a superpower. Like, I don't have to be afraid of this. And honestly, it took a lot of years of really like learning to advocate for myself in college to fully become comfortable with myself. And I think I really kind of lucked out that when I started making content, I wasn't even that comfortable yet, but creating videos and knowing that it was helping people really, really opened me up. And I did get to the point where I was like, yeah, I am disabled. And you know what? That's great. Like, that's who I am. And I think it's like perfectly okay to not be at that point. And it's such a journey. And sometimes I think there is like toxic positivity online, and people don't always talk about, you know, the journey to get to that place of being really comfortable. But yeah, it's been a journey.
Hello. Yare, you kind of touched on it. My question was about like people from other cultures. Specifically, I'm Mexican American. So then I totally understand about the cultural and religious aspects, but do you post or create content in Spanish? And have you met someone that says, wow, you inspired me? Just because, you know, disability is not always predominant, it's not always visible. So just wondering you too, if you had, you know, other cultures or something. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that is very true. Like in Latin America, it's still like kind of taboo, and I'm glad to know that there are more role models now than when I kind of like started creating content. But yeah, there are videos that I completely do the same thing just in Spanish. Like I've had videos kind of go viral in Spanish and had opportunities to just like do interviews right after the New York fashion show that I did. I had an opportunity to do like an interview with this journalist from Venezuela, and a lot of people from Venezuela started following me in Latin America in general. So it's been great to also, you know, in Latin America, there's still like, and here as well, but more they're still like seeing it as like a lot of like inspiration porn, just kind of like, you inspire me so much, and it's just like used for that purpose of inspiration, like kind of like, look at what she did, because that is so inspiring. But like I'm here, I'm a human, you know, I'm not just your inspiration. I like have needs, and I like need you to hear out what my experience is, like more than what I need you to praise me for living with a disability. I just living my life, and I have no other option. Like it's kind of like, you know, I'm not gonna say like insulting, because I'm not gonna take it that way. I understand where people are coming from, but I like have to go grocery shopping, you know, to live my life. Like I have to do those things, and they are not heroic. I'm just living my life. So I try to like, I've encountered with the culture more of that, like in Latin America. Like I feel like there's still work to be done in that area. So I always try to like also bring humor into it, like just like make people see what the experience is. But yeah, it's very different, and like I feel like also moving here helped me to be like, oh, I need to embrace this, and I need to like communicate it to the world. So
I love, like, I'll be scrolling through TikTok and one of your videos in Spanish comes up and I'm like, I took French, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'm gonna like it, I'm gonna comment, I love this. I'm like, I totally agree. So I was born in Ukraine, and obviously there's a lot of political stuff happening over there right now. And you know, political violence of that nature can be like a mass disabling event. And so following along with like things happening on other parts of the world, and you know, trying to scour through like European news sites of like, okay, what's being done on the disability side? Like, what's a nonprofit I can donate to support disability stuff like halfway across the world is really important. And being able to share those resources with our followers too is, always a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the questions from our audience members. So we are getting ready to wrap up. And typically, Christina always asks our guests a question for the wrap up. So I'm going to let her ask her question.
Okay. All right. Really just what would you tell, someone who's interested in going into content creation? It wasn't that exciting of a question, but what advice would you give? What are some first steps? I mean, I think a lot of people would love, like my daughter would love to be a content creator. She keeps asking me about all these different apps. So it's like, it's a wide range of people with and without disabilities and ages that can get out there. And that's what's cool about it. It is a very accessible job. But what would you suggest for people to get started?
I think step one is just pick up your phone, record a video, and post it, right? Like, if you have a story to tell, it's probably going to resonate with people. And I think people are always like, well, I don't know how to edit. Just share your video. You don't have to have like a perfectly edited, 100% great video to start. I can't even watch the videos I posted in 2019. It's too embarrassing. Like, just get your story out there. I think my practical advice is that if there is a type of content you're really interested in making, look up that content online, see what other people are doing, see what is already resonating with people. There's no shame in like copying an editing style or trying something that you've seen online. In fact, that's like half the time if I like try something new in a video, it's probably because I saw it somewhere else. And build your platforms, follow other people, get to know people. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's as simple as like, recording a video and uploading it. Putting yourself out there. You just got to be ready. You're probably going to get hate comments, but you're also going to get really nice comments. It's like the best and worst sides of humanity. They're all on the internet. So you have to be ready for all of it.
Yeah. I will say just like be yourself and show yourself authentically. Don't like try to, do something just because other people are doing it, or try to sound like someone that you're not. You're literally talking to your best friend. Just think you're on FaceTime and make a video and put what you think, and it's gonna resonate with someone out there. They're gonna feel like, it's the human experience is a universal experience. You can connect with people from all over just like through a video, and yeah, have fun, be creative. I love editing, like it's one of my favorite things about the job. So just look up videos. Like there's so much out there. Like I've learned so much just by watching videos of how to edit, and then I'll
exactly what I do.
I'll just do that. I love doing videos with like special effects, and I don't know, it's fun to have that as a creative outlet.
Yeah, it's all a learning process, but there's so much out there now because like everybody wants to be a creator, and everyone should be a creator because it's so much fun. So yeah, definitely being authentic. I love that.
Well, hopefully now all of your followers will be our followers with All Access.
We're gonna get them on there, yeah.
We expect 1 million followers.
Okay, calling them all right now. Okay.
Yeah, no big deal. We're gonna have a lot
Your
of
manager
sponsorships
could
soon.
contact us.
Yeah.
We got this. We got this.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have thoroughly enjoyed having both of you on here on our episode of All Access, again in honor of National Disability Employment Awareness Month for October. And yeah, this has just been a lot of fun, and we thank you both for your time.
Yeah, thank you so
sharing your
much.
stories.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
This has been awesome.
Sal, you want to share?
Oh yeah, should we share our socials maybe?
Oh yeah.
If you want to find me, well, first of all, yes, follow All Access, follow MOPD Chicago. I'm Natasha C44 on TikTok. It's either 1424s. I feel like I should know that. Or I'm just Natasha Caudill on Instagram.
So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok under Yarelbys, which is my first full name, is YARELBYS, and that's my handle.
Amazing, and we'll post those
Yeah.
as well with the episode. And also a big shout out to Joanna at World Business Chicago, because we want you all to stick around and have lots of good food and drinks and hang out for a little bit.
Yay.
So great. So thank you guys again. We
Thank you.
appreciate you, and audience members, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for this month's episode of All Access. Be sure to check us out on social media at MOPD Chicago.
Special thanks to our executive producer, Commissioner Rachel Arfa, the City of Chicago's production team, our sign language interpreters who helped to make our podcast accessible, and our special guest today. See you next time.